Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of my trading journal. It looks like we had some amazing move this week, and it is showing to me that we're finally understanding the market. And it's finally, I am finally able to kind of follow it a little bit and understand the reasons why it's doing what it's doing, right? Now, we looked at Euro JPY. We looked at Euro JPY this past week. We had a look at it, and we obviously have a couple more pairs. But it is interesting to see that Euro JPY did exactly what we said is going to do, or I should say that what I said is going to do. And that's why I'm feeling encouraged to look at it positively and say, well, at least I'm making progress. I'm getting there. So this is a very important step in my journal, and I would like to highlight that for you guys so you can see kind of how far in. It's been 2 months since I've started recording this, but it's also been another 4 months before that I did it on my own, and I developed the indicators and everything else that I did. So it is a good indicator to see when finally it started making some clarity in my brain. So if this was Chinese and I'm finally learning it, I am at the moment when I feel that, okay, I might actually finally be onto something and understand how the market is moving. So we looked at Euro JPY, and we could clearly see at a weekly level that we were bearish. Sorry, we were bearish, and that ginormous push to the downside was just there. This wick was not there, and we said that this can do two things. It can, one, break through and retest to reject the EMA and keep going to the downside, or just have a pullback and go back up and stay in a ranging market, which this has been. So I would I'll kind of prize myself for being able to see that this week. I mean, I was speechless when I checked it. And what I mean by I checked it, I knew what I wanted to see, but I'd like to go back to the video that I recorded and just had a look at the analysis and be able to see that, oh my God, this actually did have a pullback. In fact, it did not make it through. It did break through, but it didn't hold. So you go down to the 4 hourly and you're looking at it, it broke below, it come back to retest, but there was no engulfing signal. There was no change of character at a 4 hourly. It literally just stayed there. So the market showed us, hey, I'm not going to go down. So at that time, we could have basically made a decision to take a trade or not take a trade, to basically trade the pullback. But we know I haven't got the experience to trade the pullback, so I haven't taken it. But from an entry point of view, I would have loved for this red candle here to be a little bit deeper and have the next bullish candle next to it to be fully engulfing of that in order to actually take a trade. And that would have meant I would have been able to enter there, have my stop loss at the bottom of this area of interest, and have my take profit right about there. So that meant I would have been able to make some profit. But even if, let's say, I didn't do that, the worst case scenario, I would have entered after I broke this high at the 30-minute. Let me just take it to the 30-minute. So at the 30-minute, we broke below, came back down to retest, had the push again to the downside. Now we broke above. So the minute that we broke above, looking at the 30-minute, we've become bullish, right? This clearly has created a new higher high and a new higher low and a new higher high and a new higher low, and so on and forth. And to about this point here, we came back down. So this broke above and then came down to retest. And that actually gave us an entry signal. It gave us a double top as such for a reversal. So it came down, retested, and down, retested again, and gave us an engulfing signal. So my entry would have been right about there. And the stop loss would have been roughly at the bottom of this area of interest. And that would have been my trade right there. And I would have been able to make this trade in the first. So this is the 4 hourly. I would have entered there and make it in the first in the first day, basically. In the first day, I would have been able to make this trade in probably 8 hours. It is almost like scalping, but obviously it isn't scalping. So just realizing now too, while I'm here, but I wouldn't have been able to do this anyway. This is actually pretty engulfing at this level here. So we had this push to the downside, came back up, and then down again. And we had this signal right here, which could have potentially indicated a buy, but I would have seen this a little bit more riskier without going to the lower time frame and actually seeing that the market at a lower time frame has changed the trend, because right now 4 hourly is full bearish. So this, as far as I'm concerned, is a pullback on a 4 hourly. But in order for me to trade, I would have been able to trade the pullback because I knew it was going to happen at the 30-minute level, like safely. I wouldn't have to worry about it. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing, and I'm full of joy. I almost had tears in my eyes when I looked at it today again, and I was speechless that it did exactly what I said it's gonna do. So it is clear to me that I'm finally developing a little bit of an edge and understanding what's what. Now, if I was to hold this trade, I would have been able to actually maximize it at 1 to 1.8. So that would have been plenty for me. Remember, I'm only taking the small trades at 0.5 because I'm risking a much larger amount in order to grow my shitty small account. But once we get to a sizable account, I'll be able to then lower my risk and, you know, just take proper trades. Now, in the process from now to then, I'm going to be able to understand exactly the moves, how they work, and I'll be able, by the time I'm going to have, let's say, 50 grand or 10 grand in my account, I'll be able to at least have a better understanding how the market moves. And guys, honestly, it's key. This is my second month in, and I'm finally seeing it clearer. And the best thing about doing this, I feel that I'm accountable for it, and I feel that I am responsible to show you what it takes to get there. And it has a positive impact on my trading life. So just bear in mind when you do decide to do trading, if you haven't got, you know, let's say the guts to do it online for yourself, create a journal for yourself, and you're just looking at someone that's done it, like for example myself, all of the videos up to today, they were good videos. I did the analysis, but you can see what I was lacking, you know, at actually pinning down the entry signal. And I've realized that, and I've started adjusting so I can actually get it and enter. And even now, after 1 week of knowing where the entry signal is, I haven't taken any trades. And I feel a little bit bad, but I don't feel too bad because the way I look at it, the minute I got this, it's with me. You're not going to forget it. You're not going to lose it, right? You will make mistakes, which will change the outcome. But mistakes happen because you're greedy, because you're emotional, all of those things that we all suffer from. So yeah, it's been an absolute beautiful kind of lesson for me and understanding from it. So just bear in mind, doing what I'm doing now, it is a little bit embarrassing because I don't speak good English. I have a bad accent. I don't know all the terminology of things. I make mistakes. I don't edit my content because it's a journal. What's the point of editing to show you the perfect clean cut? I want you to see the rough. I want you to see the rough of a trader's life. I don't want you to see the perfect everything. So just bear with me. I promise we're gonna make it. We're gonna take this shitty little account from $100 to $100,000 by Christmas. That is my goal, and I'm not ashamed to you know, just admit that I fucked it up at the end of the year if I didn't make it. But at least I have a goal, and I'm gonna record it all until we make it. And I'm hoping once we start taking those trades, I'll be able to learn even more, because right now there's no emotions. I don't feel anything. I don't feel greed. I don't feel anxiety. I don't feel absolutely nothing, because I'm not trading. But I know the minute that I'm trading, I'll feel emotional. I'll feel, you know, scared. I'll feel scared for the account and all sorts of things that really not beneficial for yourself as a trader, but unfortunately it's part of our life. So yeah, we'll see what's gonna come. We'll see what's gonna come. I'm kind of preparing myself a little bit for the worst outcome, but also preparing for the best. And the way I think of it, if I was able to get the account to 100 grand and blow it all up in one wrong trade, then I can do it again. Now, the thing I will have to change is the risk management. You know, how are we getting to $100,000, and at what point we're gonna dial down on the you know, the risk to reward. But yeah, this trade, we'll leave it as it is. I'm proud to say that it's gone exactly how I said. It's gonna have a pullback, and it had a pullback, and now we're gonna come back Sunday. We're gonna do the analysis, and we'll understand exactly where this trade is heading to, and hopefully we find an entry signal. But I know for sure that I really love it. It looks so beautiful already. It is at a point where it has been in the past, and it's already going to the upside. So this can go two ways. and we'll see what that is on Sunday. Now let's go to Euro USD. So Euro USD, we have had a monthly head and shoulders. We had a monthly head and shoulders plus a retest. So if we go into the monthly, now I know monthly is really high time frame. It doesn't really, what can I say? I mean, the lower time frame will have, for each of these candles is a whole month. So you will have 4 weeks into one of them, right? So each candle is 4 weeks. Now in 4 weeks, of course, the market is going to do a lot of up and down. But one thing is for certain, that we are currently testing or retesting. Let me just highlight that. We are retesting this neckline, you see, and we've kind of come a little bit high, but I know, I'm extremely certain that we're going to go a little bit deeper. It's going to push a little bit higher a little bit higher up before it will actually head to the downside. But we are at this area of interest, and like even now at a monthly level, we are almost, I mean, breaking above that area of interest and having a rejection of it. But I can't really say we're breaking above. But if I was to just be a little bit sneaky right now and move my area of interest, which is weekly and daily, if I move it there, we have a valid, right now we have a valid monthly area of interest. So we've touched once, twice, and now 3 times. So every time we have been above, we've seen a rejection of it, and then when we're below, we see a rejection to the downside. Now at this time and place, I believe that we're gonna see a bigger push to the downside, but it would not surprise me if this is gonna do a much deeper push into the neckline, or just not give a shit about it and just keep pushing to the upside and keep staying ranging. Now we know that the euro and the JPY and the euro and the USD, that has been consolidating for months. It is pretty possible that this is gonna keep staying here and keep consolidating for a little while longer before it will reach the EMA and have another push to the upside or the downside. But the biggest thing that really matters to me is that monthly is bearish. And as we said, monthly was bearish and it closed with the head and shoulders plus a retest. So this is kind of screaming to me saying, hey, we're doing a push to the bottom, we're going to the downside. I can't see it otherwise but that. And then weekly was bullish. So weekly was bullish at the time of us doing the weekly was bullish at the time that we did this update Monday, the market analysis, and it is still there. And we can see that this week has shifted so little. And I'm at a place where, I know and I feel that we're going to see a little bit more consolidation around this area of interest before it's going to go to the bottom. But it is also very possible to have a slightly taller push into the neckline and just come up here. Like, not to stay, but it will actually have a push, and then it's gonna be rejected and come down and close below this, and then finally reject and close. So I'm keeping an eye on this, because this right here, let me just go to daily. This trade right here is the trade that I've taken on the $5 million trading $5 million demo account, and that was my entry point. Like, I couldn't ask for better, right? So like, I don't even have words to say what a moron move I did with this one. But hey, it's done now, okay? So don't matter anymore. But currently we are literally just at this level. So if we can see a tiny little bit of a push to get us to the break even, I would love to exit, even if he's going to have a push to the outside, and kind of reconsider everything. But in saying that, if it does break above this area of interest, it will definitely come down to retest and have a push to the upside. But I don't see that when monthly is formed a head and shoulders and it's retested the neckline. It's kind of, I don't know, I just don't see it. I absolutely don't see it. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Everything is bearish, everything is bearish. We're going to the bottom. The only thing that we have got at the moment to consider is weekly and daily. That is obviously bullish. So this is weekly and this is daily. Now, Daily has already shifted very, very little. It has got this kind of big, this big push to the upside, like a pullback of monthly being bearish. And I know it can still influence how monthly is going to behave, because big change start at the lower time frame, but it is hard. It takes much longer to build like a higher time frame market structure for it not to be respected, but of course it can be respected. But I just wanted to touch down a little bit on something with Euro USD, because of course we were supposed to look for entries and take trades, right? So let's just quickly dive down to weekly here. Okay, so we said that we are looking for buys based on the above, right? Because we had monthly was bearish, but weekly and daily was bullish, and also weekly closed with engulfing. So we were, this is weekly here, this is this week, of course, this is where it started. So let's just go to daily and see where we at. So daily, Monday, where was Monday? Thursday, Monday, Friday, Monday, Friday. Okay, cool. So this is Monday. So we basically, Monday came, we had a push to the downside, and then we closed, and we had a bullish push to the upside. Now this, from a trading point of view, you can see exactly where my trade is placed now. We would have been dropping at 4 hourly, and I just want to see the push. This push here was Friday. This push here was Friday, Sunday. Okay, so we came here Sunday night and we had a look, and then Monday morning the first candle that came was a bearish, and it had the push to the downside. Then it consolidated, and it just did nothing. It's like absolute disgraceful. It's not at the area of interest, it's below the area of interest. It just a miss. It's basically the consolidation phase. It's doing nothing pretty. We got this engulfing here, and then it just returned and went up. The reality actually is the engulfing should have been up here to see the push, but it didn't really have an engulfing. It still had a push. No engulfing here, just steady, slightly up, and then we had a little bit of an engulfing and a push to the downside, and now it's consolidating. So Euro USD, there was no trade this week, which is fine. You know, shit happens. Just going back to Euro JPY, because we didn't actually talk about the entry signals. So we were expecting sales. We were looking for sales, right? So this particular trade here, we would have waited for rejection and full engulfing at the area of interest in order to take the trade. But of course that didn't happen. We would have only had the option to put a counter trade, and that would have been absolutely beautiful. It would have had an amazing push to the upside and a steady push. It's just understanding whether we would have risked it or not. At the 4 hour level, there was absolutely no true indication that we've changed the character in order to go. But at the 30-minute, at that time, we actually did have a change of character, and it showed us beautifully the beginning of the pullback, you know, the bullish pullback. So it started all the way at the bottom here. What am I saying? It didn't start there. Let me see. So this would have been, okay. So I kind of take that back. This would have been the active 30-minute leg, and it is clear to me that we did not break that. So we were as bearish as it gets at the 30-minute as it was the 4 hourly. So there was 100% no entry signal, not a clean entry signal, but we could have definitely risked it and taken some, you know, taken some trade home. But look, you risk it, you can have a good reward, or you can have a bad reward, as in you can get wicked out and be absolutely screwed. So yeah, that right here is the 30-minute leg. So yeah, there was nothing, guys. So I take that back. I would have not traded this, and that's the reality. Because if this market wasn't here, if this what's here highlighting green wasn't here, and this was just rejecting, I would have assumed that we're going to see another push to the downside. So the reality is Euro JPY had no business to be there. But what we're forming now, what we're actually forming now, even at the 4 hourly, it's got these dojis, the EMA. I'm expecting any minute to see a big push just to touch this and then close below it. That means we're rejecting the EMA, and then we're going to have the push to the downside, which is the one that we're waiting for. But what we need to do is we need to adjust the areas of interest, because that's what matters. Being at the area of interest and not being in the middle of nowhere, which is what this one is now. All right, let's move on. Euro AUD. So Euro AUD, we said we're looking for sales. Just quickly have a quick look at weekly. Weekly was bearish. We've come back to have a rejection at this area of interest, which was well respected. 1, 2, 3, 4 touches now. So yeah, let's see. Looking for sales. So what did we do? This is daily. What is my Sunday? Friday, Thursday, Monday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. Okay. Okay, maybe not Tuesday, Thursday. Okay, sorry guys, we were here. Friday and Monday. So Monday, this is our Monday candle right here. And this is what we have done on Monday. This has come through, the market open. This was Sunday. No, this was Friday. Monday, we just had this big push to the upside. And then we're rejecting this area of interest and going to the downside. Now, the thing is, even when I looked at it on like last week, it had the area of interest was so busy, which made me realize that's exactly what happened now. That's exactly what's going to happen. But the good news is everything is bearish apart from daily. So we're going to see a bit more of this wrinkly looking market. And at some point is going to break below it. So we're going to have to make the decision whether we're going to try and take a trade, a counter trend trade, if weekly and 4 hourly at least align, and see how it goes. But we'll only see that on Sunday when we're doing the analysis. But for now, let's see if there was an opportunity for this week. So we knew we're looking for sales. We knew we have rejected this area of interest, and we had an entry potential signal at this area of interest. However, I like it to be a lot deeper. So let's see how deep it got before we got there. So this is Monday, this is Monday, Sunday. Okay. Monday, Sunday. Okay, so this is when the market opened. We were here. We had a push to the upside and we broke above it, but didn't hold, came close below, and then it had a steady push to the downside, and then we stayed and consolidated at the EMA. So truly there was no entry signal. I wouldn't have chased a lower time frame either, because if 4 hourly doesn't have a decent engulfing at the area of interest at least, or at least a rejection and a retest, it's not really worth it. Now I could easily say that this was the break and the retest, and sorry, the break and retest, and then a push to the downside. But this signal here is not engulfing. Minimum should have been engulfing for me then to drop at the 3 hourly, the 30 minute, and actually try and find an entry signal for a bearish move. So we had one push, two push. At this point right here, you can kind of see you had some sort of an entry signal at the 30 minute, but there's no point. It's like, I mean, honestly, you could have definitely made some money with it, but are you willing to take that kind of risk? Because I wasn't. Let's see where that would have been. Yeah, that would have been right there, but man, there's no way. I would have never traded that. Yeah. Well, maybe that is a lesson. Maybe that's a lesson that's worth keeping hold of, because if that had a push to the downside and we were looking for a sell, then maybe that's, our sign that the trade would have been there. But anyway, look, it is what it is. It is still in a good place. I think it's probably setting itself up for a good week next week. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to take some trades. Next one was NZD USD. Now, looking at weekly again, because that's how I like to start at weekly. We said that monthly was bearish, weekly was bullish, close to engulfing, and daily is also, daily is also bullish. So weekly was bullish. We have had a bullish trend, so it closed with engulfing. So it's gonna have another push to the upside. So right now we were looking for buys, and I can see how we came back down to retest this exactly like we said. We're gonna see a retest of the area of interest and then have a push to the upside. So right now I can actually see at daily level that we have come above this area of interest. We come back down to retest it, had the push, and come down to retest again. Now, most times I've seen when the market is trying to move to the upside or the downside, is going to create a double top or a double bottom. And every time that I've seen it is done that. I mean, you can see it here, 1, 2 before he went to the downside. You see 1, 2 before he went to the upside. You can see here 1 kind of a doji and 2 to have a push to the downside. And now we can see it here, 1, 2 to go to the upside. And now we have here 1, 2, and he's going to go to the upside. Now we have got another half a day left and tonight for this market to actually reach this area of interest. If this doesn't reach this area of interest, of course, we're going to have to wait for Monday to close, and hopefully this prepares itself in a better entry position and give us a nice entry signal at a lower time frame, because right now daily is bearish. So daily close bearish, which tells me that there's going to be a push to the downside. And I will be not surprised at all if this is going to come down all the way to retest this EMA and then come back up and do its push to the upside, which is probably to about this level. But from a trading point of view, let's just go to the 4 hourly. Let's see where Monday was. Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, Monday. Okay, so this is when the market started. We had an engulfing signal. Of course, we didn't need that. We just needed another touch of this area of interest. And it kind of came here and rejected, had the tiniest push to the upside. And then it gave us an engulfing to the downside, which was not really what we wanted anyway. And it reached this area of interest and then it had a push and so on. So it's kind of just consolidating at a lower time frame. And I would only consider daily here for any kind of moves, and then drop to the 4 hourly. So yeah, there was no actual trades available for this week. That's just closing tomorrow for NZD USD. Next one was AUD CAD. AUD CAD, just going down to the weekly for a second. We had weekly was bullish and it closed an engulfing, and daily was bearish. So again, it didn't line up what it wanted to do, and I think I just got that the wrong way. I think weekly was bearish because I can see it bearish, and daily was bullish because I can also see it. Yeah. So we say that, hey, because daily and 4 hourly aligned, we would be looking for buys. But weekly was against us. Weekly was bearish, which means we would see a push to the downside first. But because daily and 4 hourly aligned, that isn't really a counter trend trade. But what it is, it's a pullback trade. So we are trading the pullback, which is a riskier trade, but it is very, very valid. So we were on Monday, we were literally just reaching this area of interest. So just going down to daily. Monday, we were here. Monday. Yeah, Monday. So come Monday, oh, come on, buddy. We just came down to this area of interest. And we basically rejected the EMA at that level. Now, the thing is, this is daily we're looking at. So when daily started, this ginormous push, it was inevitable. You know, it just started. So from my trading point of view, I would have had to drop to the 4 hourly and look for an entry signal to then take the trade. And unfortunately, when these had that, it just came down to this area of interest. Where is Monday? So Monday had the push to the downside. And at this level right here, I would have had to look for my entry signal. Ideally would be for me to have the entry signal at 4 hourly in order to, you know, kind of feel comfortable about the trade. But this one hasn't given us that. But what it has given us a rejection from this area of interest and a touchdown. So it rejected and then it retested. And then it had the push to the upside. Now, the only thing that I have got here that's indicating, hey, Ricky, there's a push happening to the upside, is this second touch. You have the first touch and a pullback, and then you have the second touch with the push up. And I can see this ginormous engulfing here, which engulfed this one. But because it was at a slightly higher level, I can't consider that eating these ones. But it is an engulfing from my standpoint of view. And I think I would have potentially been able to look for a buy. I'll delete this. I'm not too sure why I had that there, because I clearly said we are looking. Where are we? Let me put that there. Oh, I'm running out of juice, guys. Okay, well, hold on. Just give me a sec. I moved the camera because I'm a little bit casual. I know. That's what's happening when you get home late. Okay, what do we have here? No holes. Okay, let's see. Can this reach? Okay, cool. Okay. Tracking. Okay, just remember, I don't edit my videos, so just apologies for that. This little thing is running out of juice, so it can't hear me. So yeah, I was just saying that we've basically touched down here and we had this big push to the upside, so at the EMA as well. So that was kind of good. It was in a beautiful place, and I would have been able to look for an entry signal at that point. And that meant we would have had to drop to the 30-minute. We have technical issues with the printer. My lovely partner is printing some stuff, so it's distracting me. I said, give me a minute so I can finish this video. So I was just saying how we would be, let me see, because I'm losing my train of thought. So we were at this point right here. Okay, so what is my thing again? What the fuck? Why isn't it there? Daily. Oh, okay, because it was too far back. Okay, and 4 hourly. Okay, it's here. So we were looking for buys based on the above, but not the trade out take. The reason I say that is because we obviously didn't have weekly on our side, but just go 30-minute. And so at the 30-minute, when we had the double touch here, was there an entry signal? Did we actually change the character? So we were, let's take this so we can see it. So from here to there. Okay, cool. So this was, unless it was here somewhere, no, that was it. That was the biggest push to the downside. So this leg right here, this is the bearish leg, the bearish market. And then we broke below that, right? And we created a new low and a new low high, and we stayed there. We stayed there for a substantial amount of time, right there. So we stayed under and we started creating a bullish market from pretty much from this point on. Right here, we broke above and we've created a bullish 3-hour market. And then we had this ginormous push to the upside. So what that would have indicated to me is that I could potentially put a trade here that's trading with the trend, but it was still in the early phases of becoming clear to what's happening. So it would have been a trade that would have carried a lot more risk. But after this big push, you know, you could have entered this trade. I could have entered this trade, which was a trend trade, but having weekly against us meant that there was a lot more risk associated with it rather than just being in favor. So the confluence of weekly being the same with lower time frame was not there. But it is clear to us, if we would have followed that little step, we could have actually have a substantial trade, like a pretty big push to the upside, with a risk to reward of 1 to 2.44. Now remember, my trades are not 1 to 2.4, they are 1 to 0.5. Now, my personal thinking when it comes to a thing like this, and it's a little bit risky, I would have pushed this what is called the stop loss slightly lower, slightly at a different at the area of interest that we just left from, and I would have still taken my 0.5 trade in the 1 hour, 4 hour, in the how many minutes. Basically I would have been able to make that in the first what, 4 hours. Now the other thing I was talking about, you know, me taking profit and all of that stuff, this had clearly had a big push to the upside. I would have most certainly just dropped, start new, I would have dropped to this level here. So let's say just about here for now, just to see it from, you know, what I would have stand. This right here, this candle that's closed, of course, now would have had the potential to just take me out in profit. But if I wasn't to have a stop loss, a take profit on it and be just watching the trade, I would have been able to look at 4 hourly. I can see the candle color is blue. I would have gone to daily. I can see daily is blue. And if weekly was also blue, I would have just hold. I would have stayed and I would have hold. And reason being, if all three time frames, the push, the direction of the market is exactly the same, that means they're not fighting each other, which means we are finally doing the push that it was meant to do. Now, even though weekly is bearish, the candle color was blue. So in my mind, I know that I'm not going against it because it is bearish, but is currently doing a pullback, which means the color is blue. So that meant my confluences, even though was a riskier trade because it was counter trade, I still had a good confluence from weekly being a bullish push, and that would have actually allowed me to trade. And that's an amazing lesson, you know. I'm actually pretty proud that I've managed to figure that out. And I would have hold until that color would have changed, and that would be, see, this has closed already, so that meant when that candle closed, I had the option of exiting or waiting further. Now, if I was to choose to exit now, I would have exited at 1 to 1.14, and that would have been double to what I normally wanted to make on that trade, which would have been amazing. If this trade was, say, $100 to make 50, I would have exited with the $100, so I would have actually ended up having $200 for the next trade. But if this trade was the $5,000 trade, instead of taking 2,500, I would have taken 5,000. So that would have meant I was able to, you know, get a much greater capital for next time, for next trade. And that's kind of how I see it. But depending on where I'm at when I'm taking the trade, I may not be able to do this and watch it. You know, my whole thinking is I must keep a winning streak as long as possible with as little as possible, because I'm risking a shit ton of money of my account. You know, I'm risking pretty much 80% of the account, which is absolutely insane. And you're going to say to me, Ricky, you fucking crazy. And I am crazy, but it's the only way I want to scale my account, so I don't have to wait for 100 years to become profitable. And I don't want to go to prop firms. I just want to do it on my own, and I want to record it so I can share with you guys my failures. Really, I mean, I like to think positive, but you will see me fail, and there's no shame about it. I just need to do it, and that's it. But looking at this, me holding would have meant I would have made that, and I was able to see that because I knew everything was in trend. Everything was in trend at the time, and this currently one, even if it was at the time that this trade would have happened, of course it would have come up slowly. I would have been able to see that we already broke above this high, daily high, low high, and 4 hourly, and kind of understand that we're changing the character of this market, we're going to be bullish and kind of trust it. And the minute this candle closed, I would have made a decision to hold further or go. So I would have probably said, okay, let's just hold and see what's happening. And the next candle would have been another push to the upside. Now, how amazing is that? That meant I would have made my profit from 1 to 0.5 to 1.157. So that would have increased my income. If it was a $5,000 trade, I would have made almost $7,500, which is again absolutely amazing. And that's why Alex is talking about setting and forgetting. It is an amazing kind of concept when you are good and very profitable, but well, not very profitable, but have a good experience with the markets. But when you don't, and you have such a shitty small account, you have to do what you have to do. And I'm doing this to prove to the small guy, and including myself, that when I mean by small guys in a small account, of course, that it can be done or it can be done. You know, I mean, I believe even if I'm failing and you want to give this a go, you're probably gonna succeed. You'll be different than I am, right? And you won't know unless you try. And I think it's good to try. So this again, just going back to weekly quickly, we can see it was blue. So weekly's blue, daily was blue, 4 hourly was blue. So there was absolutely nothing for me to say to me, hey Ricky, you need to close this trade because it's going to turn until the market turns. So right now I have the option of exiting or keep holding. And you know, for the sake of this test, I can keep holding, but I would have most certainly exited because I've made my 0.5. But I kind of want to highlight, if you do follow that simple rule, as in the color of the candle, which is actually the direction of the candle over the high time frame and the low time frame, if they align, it is highly likely that it's going to stay that way for, you know, enough time to give you a decent trade. So next candle closed small. If I was to be holding this trade and I see it going up there and then coming back down, I would be thinking, yeah, I think it's time to exit, call it off. But then you look at this, is all blue, weekly is blue, you go like, okay, so what the fuck, let's just hold. And then I hold another one and I push another candle, bam. It's clear rejection there because that's already small. And this one again, rejection, and then it had another big push to the upside. Now just going to daily, blue, going to weekly, blue. So from something that was never meant to be, if you were able to enter this trade and hold, it was like just an amazing result. Like hypothetically just saying, if this was the, say, the $50,000 trade, yeah, I'm risking 50,000 of the account, the whole account basically. Let's say I had 50,000, I risked the whole lot, and I entered to make $25,000 to take us to $75,000, but it happens that I hold. Now this trade from $50,000 would have already reached, with one trade, would have reached $100,000 and another $100,000. Oh, sorry, another 50. So from going from 50,000 to 150,000 in one trade. That's how much power this has. That's how much power this has. And you know, I'm hoping the more I do this, the more I hype myself up and just stick to it, because I know it's such an important rule that I've never seen anybody talk about, but it's something that I've realized. Keep on looking at these videos. I'm looking at them and I'm like, okay, so the color matter. I keep saying the color. You can make it blue, green, whatever, purple, as far as I'm concerned. It's the direction that matters. As long as the time frames align when you take the trade, you can hold until daily or weekly is changing direction. That's it. When that happens, take the exit straight away. That will cut down any risk. It will never change direction and go to the bottom like instantly. Of course it can, but what matters is that you exit before what you originally wanted to take. So I originally wanted to take 0.5. So let's say I hold this trade and it reaches all the way to the top and I'm greedy and I'm holding, and the next candle goes halfway through. I'm still above 0.5. I'll exit happily at 1-to-1. All right. So as I'm doing this, I'm also emotionally trying to keep preparing myself for it, because I know greed is a fucking bitch. You know, greed is it's the worst thing you can have. But if it's controlled greed, if let's say daily and 4 hourly are blue, but weekly is red, as in going bearish, then I know the chances of this not making it is much greater than it is if truly weekly was in a pullback that was bullish, right? So very, very important distinction, and I'm gonna put this in the description of the video for you guys so you can stick to it. I think any trader that's taking this, they probably know this and never share it online. I don't fucking know, but nobody ever told me. It's something I figured out. So yeah, let's just hold for the sake of it, see where it would have turned so you guys can see. There. So this is the first candle that actually has turned back. And we can safely say that's what I would have exited, because it changed and I'm like, what's this? I don't want to stress about it. I've already lost 60 grand, you know? If you think about it, you know, that way, like grading way, like 60 grand, but I still made more, like almost 3 times more than what I initially wanted. I would have been happy with 0.5, but I made 1 to 1.64. But then you're going to look at daily and you can see daily is still blue, which is absolutely fine. Weekly is still blue, which is absolutely fine. But you face a decision to exit at this pullback. Or if everything aligned where you want it to be, you can just keep holding. And, you know, hopefully it keeps going bullish. But the reality is at this point in time, the 4 hourly is the only thing that is bullish. And daily and weekly was in a pullback. So what that means though, even though they blew, because it's a pullback, this red candle on the 4 hourly, it's easily the beginning of the end of the pullback. And that's exactly what we're going to see is going to happen. So if we let this play out, of course, he had the push to the downside. And probably about now, this candle here, bam, this candle now, if you're going to daily, we can see this has already had a push to the downside. We can see weekly, it's still there, but it's just sucking back in, right? Because weekly hasn't closed, and most of my trades is week to week, so you wouldn't see it. But, you know, there was a point when I was able to hold. I mean, look at this wick. It was as high as the top of weekly. So I could have easily just hold, and as soon as I got above that, exit. And that meant I would have exited at 1 to 2.1. So if this was the $50,000 trade, I would have been absolutely stoked. I would have been able to retire myself, because this would have given you, I mean, this trade right here would have given you $50,000 times 4. That's 200 grand plus the 50 you had. That would have been $250,000. That's the size of my freaking not half, but a quarter of my mortgage. And that kind of money you would probably make in, I would say, close to 3 years here in New Zealand. So that's how important it is, this little step. Very, very important, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud of this step, and this trade definitely, AUD CAD would have had the power to make a big dent in it, especially if you were on a higher up on your account. You know, for me, my account is $500, so if I was to take this trade at the $500 that I'm currently at, I would have made, instead of just 250, which is what I'm aiming for, I would have made $1,000, right? So 250. Yeah, I would have made $1,000. So that would have put me ahead pretty much. Let me see, because I have Excel open here. Oops. I know it doesn't matter to you guys. It doesn't matter to me either, but it would be good to see how many trades I would have been able to save with this. Export Ricky. Running here. Okay. What are you doing? Okay. So, if we were to take this trade now, just hear me out. You can't really see it because it's stupid screen doesn't share properly. And so I'm at $500, and let's say I take this trade and I would have made $1,000. That would have given me, sorry, so 500 and 1,000 profit. That would have put me at $1,500. So I would have basically been ahead three trades. So instead of trading with the next trade at 760, I would have been trading at 1,000, basically 1,500. to make 2,500. And that would have meant I would have only been away 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 trades. 11 trades to 100 grand. So absolutely mind-blowing. And I'm absolutely speechless that that I'm able to, you know, to kind of play with the trades and understand at least the potential. So yeah, I know I stuck on this a little bit too long, but it's just mind-blowing. It's truly mind-blowing how it actually moved. And this is coming back down. It's rejecting the EMA and probably gonna have a push to the upside. But we're gonna look at this. We're going to look at this. Oh, hold on, stop replay, leave. We're probably gonna do the analysis for this for next week, because the best thing about this, it's already closed engulfing and it is at the EMA. So you know, it's a beautiful kind of setup. This hasn't quite closed yet. This is 4 hourly, but we'll see what it looks like on Sunday when we do the analysis. I have a train that's going by here. The freaking monitor, everything is moving like it is an earthquake. It's like very kind of soft ground, like scary shit. All right, so these were the trades from last week, guys, and I did have the possible entries here too. Let me see if they're the same. Euro USD, GBP USD. Oh no. Euro AUD, Euro AUD, NZD USD. Okay, cool. So in the possible entries, the only one that I have actually not covered there was the GBP, I think. GBP USD. Yeah, GBP USD. So the GBP USD, just to have a quick look at it. Let's go. Oh yeah, this is that. So we were bullish. We are looking for buys based on the above. Let's go to weekly quickly. So weekly, yeah, only entered after the pullback has reached the area of interest. So you can see this bullish push. It's now finally come down and is touching the area of interest. And we would be anticipating a push to the upside. And the best thing I see is a long wick here. So that long wick means to me that daily has already started moving. And daily it's probably creating that pullback. So we can actually see how it's pullback, and it's broke through, came back down to retest, and now is doing another retest, which is kind of forming a double top to have a push to the downside, but equally it can be a double like a double bottom to have a push to the upside. Now we know the trend is going the right way. We just need to wait for it to reach again deep into this area of interest, and then we can drop at the 4 hourly to try and find an entry signal. And most certainly this is going to happen next week. I did say expecting a pullback, so we were roughly about there, and then we had the pullback. Now this is a daily, so our Monday, Friday, Monday, our Monday had the pullback. So in theory, I could have dropped at 4 hourly after that pullback, which was here. Monday. Okay, so Monday kind of consolidated here, and the only signal I would have had was that engulfing there. And guess what? Even like that, even if I was to be crazy and risk it, I would have put a trend push, a trend trade there, and I would have made my money. I would have made that trade. That's how simple this is. That was... Oops, the cables have just fallen underneath. Okay, but this is still stable, so we'll just leave it alone, I think. Okay, hopefully stays. Yeah, so we just had, we would have been able to make the trade basically, but I just wanted to drop down to 30 minutes and see what the difference is. So at the 30 minutes, so we broke above, came back down to retest. What is Monday? Friday? Monday. Okay, so we had the push to the downside. Okay, I just want to see when this changed the character. So this was bullish, sorry, and then we had the further push to the downside, and that was the low low and the low high. So we stayed, yeah, absolutely. So we actually stayed bearish for a very long time until we broke above here, and then we retested. Now from a trading point of view, you need to start thinking about a potential buy once you changed the character. So this was bearish and we need to change it. So the only time that I would have been able to physically take a trade is if this has changed and it's gone to the upside. And that meant this leg right here. This would be the first leg that we changed to bullish right there, bam. So we reached the top, we changed the character, we came back down, had a pullback, and then our trade would have started. Pretty much exactly what is now. I would say this engulfing at the 3-hour is your signal. That's it. That would have been your entry signal. And you could have entered there. Now, from a safety point of view, I would have liked my stop loss to be the same width with this area of interest. So if that's 49, I would have just come back down here and I would have entered there and I would have made my 1-to-1 in the first, sorry, 1-to-5 in the first. I'll just go to 4 hourly, just easier to kind of read it. Okay, so we would have been able to make our first entry, oh sorry, our first trade in 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, just close to a day and a half, right? So this is Wednesday and this is Tuesday. So basically Tuesday night and Wednesday. And it maybe kind of giving me a bit of a false sense of safety because it's working and it's been working for far too long, this 0.5 thingy, and it really scares me because right now is no money in it. But just imagine that little square, the red square at the bottom of the rectangle at the moment. Let me make it a square because it sounds better. Okay, that red square at the bottom weighing $50,000 or $10,000. That's like, I could live off that money for like 3 weeks to pay all of the outgoings, right? And I'm putting them all on the line for this trade. But then I kind of know, because everything is trending, I'm thinking, okay, there's a chance we're gonna make it. But what I want to do, let's say I was to take this trade, right? But then I remembered, hold on a second, before I push play, let's check the candle color. And the only way to take that candle color, start new, we're just gonna have a look. So we were about here, we go, damn, that's it, we're gonna go in. We're gonna go in for 0 to 0.5, very stressful and everything. But then I'm like, oh, hold on, let's check the color of the other candles, or I should say the direction. Right now, 4 hourly is blue. Just changed and is going to the upside, right? Now, daily should be blue. Weekly should be blue to make me feel comfortable. If they aren't, you shouldn't be doing this because you know the risk is way too far too great. So you just go here daily and you look at daily, and daily is blue. So yay, so far we have a good confluence to go. But if weekly is red, that should say to me the risk is too great. You should do not do it. And that's exactly what's happening. Weekly is red, so we shouldn't freaking do it. And that's why having the 0 to 5 risk to reward can save your ass. Because if you don't have it and you're expecting this trade to go up ginormously, you're gonna get burnt. And now let's just see what this one went from here, just roughly. So that pulled back. That would have given you your trade, and you were safe from, you know, from elimination. But we can see that it's come back down, right? Because weekly is like very powerful. All right. So this again is a lesson that is really well received just now doing this. And this is why I'm stressing how important it is to do this. And as I'm talking to you guys, I'm actually talking to myself in my brain. This is a journal for me. So I'm kind of learning. From my explanation to you guys how I think. So when I'm explaining to you and I'm thinking, my brain keeps forming these connections, and it's amazing. It's quite intricate. This thing just there, you know, I was able to avoid a bad trade. I was ready to take this trade, as I said before. Let's say I'm there. Obviously, I didn't trade this one either, but I was ready to push, go, play. But then I checked the direction of the market, and because weekly was against my trade, even though it was bullish but was against my trade, I didn't take the trade. So screw it. I'm like, nah, I'm not taking it. It was too much risk, so stay the fuck away. And that's it. We don't do it, and I'm happy. I didn't lose money. I didn't make money. I could have made money, but it was such a limited amount. It's better for me to wait until weekly has become blue and then drop to the lower time frame and make sure you find the right entry with the right color candles. Because if all of the candles have the same color, it's impossible to just out of nowhere appear to be blue. So that will give me, I mean blue or red, that would give me a much higher chance to reach that 0.5 than going, say, daily's red, weekly is blue, and 4 hourly is blue, you know. As long as you're not against it, it's the main thing. So yeah, wow, absolutely speechless. I'm really proud of it. And to be honest, we've reached 1 hour, and that's the trades that I've had for this week. There's no point stretching this any longer than what I have. I'm just going to focus now pushing this video out, and we're going to have a sit down on Sunday, and Sunday we're going to do the analysis, and we're kind of going to see how the week has closed. The week is closing tomorrow, New Zealand time. I think it's 11:30 or 12 a.m. And that means we will be, no, sorry, 12 p.m. midday basically tomorrow. And then we'll be able to have a good understanding of where the market has shifted tonight, because we have London session starting in an hour. So it's going to be an interesting battle. I'm expecting this particular one here, GBP USD, to go down lower and then have a push to the upside. But guys, I'm getting more and more excited. I can almost feel that, let's call it the freedom, you know. Like, remember, trading for me, I mean, not trading for me, but the whole point of everything that's happening here is to prove whether trading can change my life. And I've understand along the way that it's not so much the trading that can change my life, but as much as me changing my life in order to be a good trader. And it will be the same for your case, you know. You're never going to be a good trader. Trading will never change your life if you're not changing your life first to be able to be a good trader. You can't just be a good trader by not doing anything that a good trader should do, right? So now I've learned and I've adjusted my way around it, and I've done these videos. I've kept every single week. I've done my my Friday and my Sunday. Friday kind of market updates, see what happened with the week, and then Sunday do a market analysis for the following week. Now the one video I haven't posted was the one in between. And now that I'm finally where I need to be with my head and understanding of the markets, I'm going to start recording these trades in between Monday and Sunday. And even if the trades are not taken, I'm going to record them on the phone, and I'm going to post them on Instagram, because it's the only platform that I'm going to use. I'm going to start making reels, as in, okay, this is the trade, this is what we said, and this is finally the move. So we avoided a loss, or we've taken this, and the color is there, and this and that. Then at least you have something to show for. You have some kind of, let's say, results of the lessons that I've put in so far. And of course, I'm not expecting you guys to follow my steps, as in to follow my trades and my entries and my exits. I would never expect that. But it's something for you guys to look at and understand why I'm making mistakes with the trades, or why they're going good. And maybe if you find that interesting, you're gonna go back to watch my other videos. You know, they're not far off, but you will see constantly I'm missing the entry, but I had a good understanding of the trend and how the trend works, like, you know, market analysis from the top down. I've been pretty good at, even from the very beginning, which is why I was able to develop this indicator. But I was always struggling with the entry signal, and I just believe I may have I may have finally cracked it and understood it. And I don't mean I've cracked it by myself. I haven't discovered something that you guys haven't. I've literally watched Alex's videos. And in Alex's videos, he's always stressing the importance of the entry signal. But I was just looking at the wrong entry signal. I was just waiting for the 4 hour engulfing. And that's fine. But if your 4 hourly is, say, bearish, but you're looking for a bullish move, in order for that 4 hourly to become bullish, you're losing the whole trade, which is what was happening from February to bloody May, June, you know. which is why I was able to make money on the $5 million trading account, the fake account, because I was entering to market and I was waiting for the market to basically find its own entry signal, and then the trade went the right way. And it's I don't know, it's like it's a warm feeling when I know the market went the way I said it. I just didn't know when to enter. But now I think I finally got that, and I understand where to enter. And I'm really excited for the weeks to come, and maybe all this excitement is going to go away when I'm going to lose a lot of money next week, or it was going to get better when I'm going to make a lot of money next week. But I don't know. The whole point of this is to discover together, discover my own abilities, and hopefully get to where we need to be. So I'm not going to waste your time. If you do go back and watch these videos, and if you did find this video interesting and, let's say, educational to a point, it's not, I haven't really put this out there as educational, but I mean educational from the point of a trader's life perspective. Remember, I'm no trader yet. I'm becoming a trader. So this should be educational to you in the way of, okay, look at this guy. He never traded until February. He started trading in February. Then 4 months later, he decided to start taking it seriously. So he's done his channel, and he's recorded every Sunday and every Friday. And he's gotten to where he's gotten. Like right now, those 2 months that I've been doing it, there's no profits. There's no money that come in. There's no money that I lost. But I have placed a lot of trades, demo trades on the, not demo trades as such, but I've marked them on the screen, and they went how I said they will. Which is, it's a good thing in my mind, you know. At least I did that, but I'm missing the execution part. And I think after 2 months of doing this, I finally got it. So for you guys to be able to look at me and see, okay, so he started February, 4 months later he's done the online side of his journal. He's journaled all his trades. Now he's finally starting to lose some money, make some money. So he's finally getting somewhere. It's just a fine tune. So it may take another 6 months to fine tune. I may never make 100 grand by Christmas, but I'll be more than content with myself if I can make $1,000 by Christmas and not be minus 1,000, you know. That would be absolutely amazing. It's the right way, but I do have a little bit higher expectation. I just think we're gonna make it. And if this does work, I'll be absolutely stunned if we can actually put together a team of people that can do it together, because I'm sick and tired of being by myself and not having someone to share my thoughts with and say, guys, look, this is what I like. I'm looking at this trade, I'm looking at this trade. I think we're gonna be seeing a push to the upside or a pull to the downside or whatever it is. So yeah, look, hit that like and subscribe button if you like it. And if you can add something to what I've just done and what I've discovered, just let it in the comments below. I will do my best to answer you guys. I haven't got a lot of people watching these at the moment, but it is just as good things, you know. They start producing like a result later on, once the results are here for the product itself, which is myself in this case, you know, just proving a point that you can be a good trader if you give it the right time and the dedication. And that's what it's all about. Okay, guys, so thank you very much. Stay safe, and thank you for watching. And if you found this video any useful and helpful, please feel free to share with your friends. I'm not here to make any money off you guys. I'm here to make money off the markets. And I've become who I am now because I really wanted to prove it to me and everybody else that this can work if you give it the right attention. So thank you very much again, and stay safe. See you next time.